must keep you from putting our kids in the ground, so we can't stand down. No, we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't stand down, brother. So we'll stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. 'Cause we know what's right. And we got plenty of fight. And if you think you're gonna keep pushing us around, well, you'll lose that crown. 'Cause we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've gotta stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. You know, it's pretty clear. If these lunatics think they have the right to strip us of our rights of self-defense, and if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. No, we won't back down. Back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've gotta stand our ground, so we won't back down. No, we won't back down. Virginians, you won't fight this fight alone.
All right.
And welcome, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. I hope you're doing well in this heat. My name is Pat. This is VCDL's live stream. I have Philip Van Cleve, our president, Jill McDaniel, our academy director, and we are privileged to be joined by Delegate Tom Garrett tonight.
Hi,
So,
Hey, Tom.
Philip, you want to start us off real quick?
Yeah, we've well, so much going on as usual. But it's particularly heavy this time with all the lawsuits and everything. And we thought maybe Tom would come on here, Delegate Garrett. Tom has been in politics for quite a while now. Been in the House, the Senate, been in Congress, and still wanting to give back to the state of Virginia, the great state of Virginia. So Tom will talk to us a little bit about what's been going on. He's starting with what happened from his point of view in the General Assembly this year and where we're going. It's an important debate, and well, a lot going on. We've just now apparently now we've got there's a suit has been filed for Maryland, our neighbor, because they don't honor all permits up there. You have to get theirs, and that can be a tedious thing to do. So they're being sued, and hopefully we'll get to the point where America actually lives up to the Second Amendment, and that our rights don't end because we've crossed an invisible border into another state. And we'll see how that goes. Of course, Virginia's trying to go the other way, thanks to our Democrat friends up there in the General Assembly. It's going to be an interesting ride. But this is an interesting time to be a gun owner in the country, and especially in Virginia, because things are changing. Supreme Court is stepping up to hear cases. We're in the Virginia Supreme Court, I think, is going to be getting some cases. So we'll see. We'll be talking about what's happening, and there have been some very recent changes with the case that was filed in Washington County. So,
Yeah.
So I
Ta-
apologize. I don't know if I can turn my camera around or not. So I'm sitting on my front porch and I got a table here and I'm working on staging out the trigger in a PCT build. And if I can turn the camera on, I don't know if you can see it, but I got rifle steel out there right now. It's sitting at about 65, about 100 and about 130. And the reason I picked my other phone up and zoomed in is there's a deer just to the right to the 130 yard target staring at me. So that distracted me. I can tell you this. I don't know if the deer can understand me, and I only kill about one deer every year or two, and it goes in the freezer and ground and mixed in with beef fat. There it goes. But I can assure that deer that I don't miss from here. Anyway. But it unlike we is protected by the laws of the Commonwealth. So he's just sitting in my front yard.
He's thumbing his nose at, or her nose at you. I couldn't tell if that was a doe or a buck.
That was the doe. There are a couple of giant bucks, and it's like Christmas time when I see them.
You can't shoot me.
Right. So anyway, yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm not like I got sitting on the table and got the new trigger. But lucky for you guys, because I'm on this call, I'm not shirtless. So anyway, it's like I talk probably most freely about Jesus when I'm in church, and I can talk as freely as I want about the Second Amendment and guns with VCDL. But I think in both instances, metaphorically, I'm preaching to the choir, and so the challenge then becomes, when I speak to people who are as well educated, or certainly in some instances better educated than I am on the subject matter, it's somewhat intimidating, number one. But number two, I don't want to insult your intelligence. So we're going to start out with a little bit of philosophy, how we got here. I think and everybody in this group, and I can see, I guess, three other folks, I presume there's others on, but we all have different stories, but at some level the same. I grew up in rural Virginia, and if it wasn't football or wrestling season, when I got off the school bus, I was probably shooting recreationally. You could get 50 rounds of 22 long rifle from Best Products for 59 or 69 cents, Winchester Wildcat. You guys know, and so it was always second nature to me. My dad was a quail hunter back when we didn't have as much clean farming and pesticide and feral cats. And so his love of shooting came from growing up hunting rabbits and then transitioning into quail, and then later in life waterfowl, and then at the end sort of transitioned to a camera. He would go out and work the dog while other people hunted. And I'm kind of there in my hunting journey. I don't have any desire I have no problem with people hunting, but I'm a meat hunter, and if I'm not going to eat it, I'm not going to shoot it.
Yeah.
And that's just, but whatever, to each their own. And so I watched sort of as, throughout my life, as they told me that my Second Amendment right was to protect my right to hunt, which was absolutely ludicrous. And I studied history back before the history departments were co-opted by the Marxists, sort of march towards stealing the messaging apparatus, which is totally intentional, and it's been going on for at least 90 years, mid-30s. And so I got this, and then when I left Congress, I did it because I was getting drunk 2 to 4 nights a week, and I was miserable, and I was going to use the firearm to hurt myself. Oh. And people are always intimidated by that candor, but I don't. I mean, to me, I quit drinking on May 24th, probably at 1 a.m., 2018, and hadn't had a drink since. It started with me saying, and I've always believed in God, but never really got with Jesus until the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm in love with him now. But it started with me going, "Dear God, if you don't help, this doesn't end well," and he did. And so then I walked away from politics entirely and intentionally for about 5 years. Just disappeared to make sure that I was where I needed to be. But every Sunday night, my mom insisted that we eat at the dining room table growing up, and my father taught Socratically, so he didn't tell me anything. He asked a series of questions. And we worked through things like the foundations of the Bill of Rights, and so obviously they're in the Second Amendment, et cetera. And it was, well, okay, why? You think that? Why? And so I've watched this debate, and I think we're now at a point where there's so much that can be done to help stand for freedom, but really doesn't. You guys are like, first of all, thank you. I think it's all hands on deck. So I remember when the NRA was the 800-pound gorilla in Virginia. It's you guys now. But I love VCDL litigation. I love NRA litigation. I love GOA litigation. It's all everything, everywhere, all at once in this fight. And one of the most important things I think is to never relent, because they won't, and we get so excited, and I do. So I'm not pointing fingers over small victories, a Third Circuit ruling here, or seeing the court grant certiorari on Higgins out of Connecticut, or Villa. You guys know the case versus Chicago, Villa. I can't even. But we get excited, and that's great. That's good. But we can't win until we won. It has to be past tense. So it's like tackling somebody in football or shooting for a takedown in wrestling. You go right straight through them, and you keep going until you execute. Right. And we are at a great and wonderful point for optimism, largely based on a lot of the work that you're doing. I'd like to believe I'm doing the best I can. I will tell you that there's a couple of asks here. One is, number one, VCDL doesn't matter. What VCDL stands for matters. NRA doesn't matter. What NRA stands for matters. Tom Garrett doesn't matter. What Tom Garrett stands for matters, right? So we're smaller than the mission. And I think you guys get it. I know Pat and Philip, you do. Jill, I don't know, you're kind of sketchy. I'm kidding, but that's important, because if it becomes about us, then we're doing it wrong, and ultimately we'll fail. And I could die in a horrific car accident tomorrow. Somebody's got to pick up the ball. The political calculus, and I had a very intelligent person who I respect say this to me recently, is vote right on guns, vote right on life, and shut up. Now, I want to let that sink in. The reason that's the political calculus is they say, well, a lot of people don't care about guns, a lot of people don't care about life, and you want to win elections, so vote right and shut up. I won't do that. I just won't.
No.
And the reason is that I don't care. I don't have any elections I need to win. I've done all kinds of stuff. I'm grateful to God for giving me the opportunity. And if I don't win the next election, so what? Because every day I pray, dear God, put me where you want me, help me recognize it when I'm there, and then have the courage to do the right thing. And so for me, I am being as loud as I can on the Second Amendment, because somebody has to lead, right? Mm-hmm. And you guys lead, but from the political side, I'm telling you, a lot of your good gun votes are, okay, I'll vote for it, but I'm not going to talk about it. That's dangerous, because the overarching mission, I'm sorry, I do not have a rock and a bottle of a bottle of protein drink holding the phone up. So that's my technical. And we lose that way. We lose by 1,000 cuts and dribs and drabs. So somebody has to stand up and make the message. Now, by way of criticism, I guess, and again, this is hard for me because you guys are the best. Suzanne from Chesterfield is more potent before a committee than Suzanne from VCDL. Now, she may be from VCDL, but you got to know that half the Republicans and all the Democrats close their minds and their ears because you guys are so daggone good at what you do that anything you say is antithetical to what they want to believe, right? Yeah. So I think you have such a wonderful rank and file membership that if you can get members to come and they can love VCDL and be devoted to it, but they just need to be John from Mecklenburg. Mm-hmm. But because you don't lose the audience as quickly. Again, that's not. I don't mean to be critical, but that's from a technical standpoint. What am I doing? So I am, and some of this is sort of secret squirrel stuff. I do know that there's good news coming, which is almost like oxymoronic, from the OAG soon with regard to the Washington County case. I think I'm not at liberty to tell you what, but I think that they know they're beaten for now. And so they're trying to save a little face. I'll just shut up and leave it at that. Okay. And I also am doing everything I can to lean on the DOJ vis-a-vis some friends that I have still in Washington with regard to the PLCAA, the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act.
Oh, yeah.
Because this dovetails with thing 3 that I'm working on. I am doing, and by the way, everyone on this phone call, 804-869-4444, you can text me. And you give me 24 hours, I'm going to get back to you. 804-869-4444, 804-869-4444. So to tell this story in a way that mom and Henrico, who just is terrified of guns, particularly guns that are black and have curvy things sticking out of the bottom of them, to tell this way tell the story in a way that might make her more sympathetic. What I'm trying to do is accessory manufacturer that's located in Virginia, and it's fascinating. And so I'm already on this quest, and I could talk too long, might have already. But, for example, you guys know that Chris Corporation makes the Chris Vector there in Chesapeake, right? Alexander Arms, Bill Alexander invented the 6.5 Grendel and the 50 Beowulf. He's in Radford. So I've got feelers out to them. Zenith Firearms is in Nelson County. They make I would argue, the best MP5 clone on earth. I was at their factory yesterday. 64 employees. Okay. Now, and this is how I want to tell this story to the soccer mom. 64 employees, making far above the median income in that particular locality. Some of them are incredibly skilled at what they do, machining and measuring tolerances with calipers and this sort of thing, which is what makes their firearms good firearms. And by the way, a plug for Zenith Firearms, I think the original MP5 had 177 moving parts. The ZF5 is at 131, but it's the same gun. What they've done is they've created monolithic parts where Heckler and H&K had multiple parts. Obviously, more parts is more potential for failure, etc. So you got this mom, and she's got a kid, single mom. She's busting her butt. She's buying a house with the money that she's earning working at Zenith Firearms. She's got a kid who's going to be the first kid in her family to graduate from college with the money that she's earning from Zenith Firearms, the opportunity. So if you take Christ and you take Alexander Arms and you take Zenith, you take the Hanson brothers up in Culpeper and make good suppressors. Dude, we're at hundreds of employees. We're at millions of dollars of revenue. But these employees, they're not just employees. They're mothers and fathers and husbands and wives and sons and daughters. And they're raising and supporting their family. And my AR-15 has killed fewer people than Teddy Kennedy's car did, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the edge that we have to put on it. So much of the rhetorical fight is literally that Dan Helmer could save 3 times as many lives if he banned ladders than he could save banning modern sporting rifles. Statistically, it's true. And we have to say it, right? And so that's an effort that I have underway. One of the reasons that I gave that phone number 4 times or whatever is, if you know a firearms or component manufacturer based in Virginia, text me and let me know. I want to reach out to them. Now, how does this all dovetail? Shameless plug warning. I have this tendency that if you tell me, 12 or 13 years ago, Clerk Shar of the Senate told me I had to shave my beard because senators didn't have beards in composite photos. Now there's 10 senators with beards in composite photos. Before she told me I couldn't, it was 1894 the last time one had one. You know why I didn't shave my beard? Because she told me I had to. And that's who I am, right? So I'm doing a fundraiser on September 6th at Black Creek Rifle Range. It's a machine gun shoot. Why? Because these guys are attacking our Second Amendment rights, so I'm going to throw it back in their face as high profile and as visibly as I can. So that's all on Delegate Tom Garrett at Facebook, but going back to the manufacturers. So, you know what? Zenith Firearms is bringing like 3 different MP5s and a couple other full auto platforms down. I got a couple of Chris Vectors chambered in 45 ACP. But I get this stuff from folks like you, right? We got professional range control. You can carry if you have a legal carry permit, but it's not a BYOG event. So all the machine guns are going to get checked in and people are going to get to shoot them. But it is going to be done to the highest safety standard, to the highest professional standard, and it's going to be flicking awesome. I reached out today to Congressman Ralph Norman from South Carolina to get in touch with PSA because this is not a Virginia fight. This is an America fight. Mm-hmm. And right now, I'm convinced that 250 years ago, liberty was born in Virginia, and that it is that they're trying to kill it 250 years later in Virginia. I don't think it's coincidence. I don't think I'm being hyperbolic. And so I have this comfort in my faith that it's all going to end well, even if it ends poorly, because I don't think I'm here for here. I think I'm here for there. But what I'm called upon to do is the best I can with what I've been given while I'm here. That's why I got back into politics. My middle daughter's like, "What the heck are you doing, Dad?" I said, "Laura, I'm not that good at much, but I'm good at this." And I have failed so much that I've lost my fear of failure, which makes me, I think, better. Because I got nothing to prove to anybody, right? Yeah. But if you know manufacturers, if you know of firearms or components, because they're under attack too, right? But this liability provision, that are from Virginia. I want to get them all together. I want to get them linked up with the Manufacturers Association lobby, right? Because tragically, freaking lobbyists moved the ball. And I talked.
It's retailers too.
Yeah, the retailers. They're the PLCAA guys, right there. Like Green Top's terrified, and PSA. I mean, nobody wants to lose millions of dollars to frickin' Jay Jones, right? And he's already like, this is. They've told us what they're going to do, and when they tell you what they're going to do, you should believe them. But I need your help, and you need my help, and we need our help, and it's not just VCDL, and it's not just members of the General Assembly who have the brass to actually not just vote right, but stay. I mean, I don't even freaking know. This is, to me, a testimony to God. I was in Congress. I represented 850,000 people. I was in the Senate. I represented 210,000 people. I'm in the House of Delegates. I gave a speech this year on 2A, and if you take all platforms, it's got 7 million plus views. I spoke to more people from the House of Delegates on this issue than I've ever spoken to before in my life. And I called out, pardon me if I offend you, the Catholic Church for supporting gun control very publicly to their faces. Well, we think that Jesus. I'm like, well, then you need to read the Bible again.
Yeah, I'm Catholic, and they piss me off. Same thing. It's like, what? Yeah, what are you doing? What about selling your cloak to buy a sword?
And then in the garden,
protecting innocent life.
In the garden, see, God works exactly how we don't expect him to. That's why he's God. But in the garden, it's very noteworthy. Jesus did not say, Peter, what are you doing with a sword? Throw that away. He said, put away your sword. He didn't condemn him for having one. He didn't tell him to get rid of it. He said, put it away. And then Simon was the zealot, was a trained killer, right? He was the Green Beret of the 12 of the disciples. And he said, Jesus, I can kill people for God. And Jesus took his dagger and threw it into the sea. And he said, God, there's nothing wrong with killing people when it's righteous, but God wants you to do different things. So this is all hands on deck. Yeah. You guys are so important. If nothing else, just to get on this call and say thank you. Please reach out if you know people. I mean, the retailers for sure. If you want to sponsor the shoot, VCDL or individually, if you want to attend. Right now, what I know we should have an M249. I think we got a 1919 Browning belt-fed machine gun, which I want to shoot. I've shot a 249. We've got an M107 Barrett. We've got a freaking 6-pound cannon from the Civil War that we're shooting blanks out of the cannon.
Nice.
Don't tell Joe Biden.
Yeah, we should buy a shotgun.
Buy a cannon.
Yeah, we've got the Chris Vector. We've got a couple of World War II exotics like the Swedish K. We've got MP5s of various shapes and sizes. And this will be fun. And
what's the date on it again?
It's September 6th, and it's at Black Creek, which is you can look up. This is why I had this other phone here. It's right on the Hanover-New Kent line, just east of Richmond. Some people are like, "Why do you have the fundraiser in somebody else's district?" I said, "Well, I don't have a bunch of law enforcement and military trained range control guys."
Black Creek in Mechanicsville.
That's right.
Yeah,
you got it. And those guys have been amazing. They've been wonderful to work with. Darn it all, I can't get to my gallery. I got an address in here. I can build an AR-15 blindfolded underwater, but I can't work a cell phone.
You need to make it a cell phone that works like an AR-15, then you'll be
right.
Good.
The modularity of it. 4292 Range Road, Mechanicsville. 3 p.m. If you have a machine gun, we'd love for you to bring it. I feel sorry for the people who are going to end up cleaning them. We're probably going to put out a tip jar. But the way it's going to work is for people who are bringing firearms, I'm just going to ask them to get there early and hand them over to the range control women and men. And, the competition that I got, and I haven't told anybody this except for the people who are in it, I want to take paper targets and MT5 and get noteworthies. Like if Philip Van Cleve or Pat Webb was there, you guys would be invited to participate. And you got, 4 seconds to dump a magazine, and whoever patterns the smallest group on 30 rounds is the winner. That just, I don't know what. You can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy.
Yeah, there's no way that'll happen, right?
So anyway, that's it. Right. If anybody has any questions for me, I want you to know, and this is a part-time gig on paper, but I mean, like I'm making the phone calls and the text messages to people like Annette Elliott with Showmasters Gun Shows and some folks in DC about DOJ, and I got a bookmark to call Richard Gardner and just try to have some of these conversations. I think for us, though, that we have to tie this to the issues that person who's scared to death or terrified of guns does care about, that working single mom with the kid going to college. And the other thing is, if we're going to win this fight for the long term, because they'll pack the court one day and they'll just usurp the Second Amendment, we got to get kids out shooting. I mean, the number of kids, we had 150 firearms in the parking lot of my high school every day legally during deer season, rabbit season, and dove season. And any one of those kids would be suspended today. So it becomes incumbent upon all of us to introduce kids to safe recreational shooting. And it's such a wonderful discipline.
Well, it was no accident that part of the culture shifted. This is all intentional, as you know, Tom.
Yeah.
And by the way, you were a prosecutor as well, as I recall, right?
Yeah, I was. And
Commonwealth
more
attorney.
about some of the, on these gun laws, I've had this talk, and Brian Mahaffey's going to be there on the 6th from Spotsylvania. So we got some of the heroes of this movement coming. I think Cuccinelli said he's coming.
Well, you might want to make sure people know. I mean, a lot of people would like to meet somebody like Brian and thank him for standing up.
Brian's great and former Marine, so if you do meet him, speak slowly and use small words, because I was Marine. With these gun laws, when I was prosecuting, I would, if I had somebody, we had a woman, my father would correct me, we had a woman named Ulisa Shavers. The only time I've been on the cover of the National Enquirer, they called her the Black Widow murderer. You date her, you die. And so with these ridiculous laws that should be never enforced, like the prosecutors I've talked to that haven't come out publicly are like, Tom, I might use this law. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because if I got somebody and I need to stack them up to hold them in prison, and I kind of get it. With the Shavers case, I charged her with sawed-off rifle. I could give two, craps about a sawed-off rifle. We had a dead body that had been in the bottom of the well for about 6 years, and I called every body farm in the country to figure out cause of death. And so every single time somebody started talking about speedy trial, we just drop another charge on her. Did I prosecute her for that? No. But I kept her held until we finally went up to the Smithsonian Institute, got a guy named Doug Owlsley who did, he's a forensic anthropologist. He could tell you how the pharaohs died. And we could make our murder case. So for the prosecutors, you're like, this is a ridiculous law. But if somebody like Rusty McGuire, who's super pro 2A, ever charges it, I can assure you he's using it as a strategic maneuver to get an outcome that he wants. I'll defend the prosecutors on that. They hate the ones I know and am friends with, because I hang out with people who I like to hang out with, think that this is unconstitutional on its face. But sometimes if you don't want
that was an add-on. Some of them they're using it as an add-on for the really bad, the true criminals, not somebody that had some technical thing. They had the gun in their car and it wasn't locked up the way they want you to do it, or whatever stupid.
Yeah, that was why it was the best job I ever had, because there's extra judicial authority in place, and a good cop and a good prosecutor, etc. I don't have to prosecute anything I don't want to. So when Jay Jones and Abigail Spanberg were talking about making Commonwealth attorneys prosecute stuff, I'm like, you can't. You could have fun with that.
Right. And they were such hypocrites about that, because they were more than happy when they weren't prosecuting marijuana laws or illegal aliens doing stuff. Oh, it's okay. They've got discretion.
I know. I'm not at liberty to discuss, but I know to a metaphysical certainty that there is an elected prosecutor in the Central Virginia area that was shepherding illegals out the back door of the courthouse to avoid ICE. I mean, I know it, and there are people looking into it.
That's good.
Well, I mean, justice isn't blind unless it's justice. So the reason that I hate the draconian gun laws, and even the practice that I just outlined, is I should prosecute everyone uniformly all the time or not at all. And justice that isn't blind isn't justice, but you live in the world you live in, not the world you wish you lived in. I've stolen too much of y'all's time. 804-869-4444. Please text. I hope some of y'all will come to the event. Again, shameless plug. Delegate Tom Garrett on Facebook. Tom drops bombs on YouTube very quickly, because I talk well, but too much. So after the November 2025 elections, I spent an hour going, what the hell happened? And then I spent 5 or 6 hours going, how do we change this? And I came up with two primary principles, both of which are original quotes according to Google. Number one, in order to win hearts and minds, you must first win eyes and ears. So this social media stuff that I hate is the town square of 2026. If Thomas Paine were to write Common Sense today, would it show up on Facebook or Reddit or where first? That's where it show up.
Yeah.
That's number one. And number two, you have to be willing to tell the truth as boldly as the other side is willing to lie, right? I don't want to make this too religious, but, I'm at church 6 months ago. My pastor says, God can do anything, right? And I'm like, amen. And he's like, wrong. And I'm like, crap, I missed it. God can't lie. It says he won't lie, therefore he can't lie, right? Meanwhile, the same text says Satan is the father of lies, and we fight every day to defend natural law rights because they're true. It's undeniable, and you feel it as a mother, a husband, whomever, that we are programmed to fight and die to defend that which is dear to us, namely our children, our loved ones, etc., and that freedom cannot be bestowed upon us by a government because we have an inherent right to it and it can't be taken. When I speak to school kids, I go, can you be a Christian in China? And they go, no. And I'm like, yes, you can. You'll pay a price, but they can't stop you. And so that's what a natural law right is. They can't take it away. They can only suppress it. So the role of successful and good government, obviously, then is not to suppress, but to protect it. Yeah. We flipped it upside down. So
government's our servant. Yeah, government's our servant. It's not our master. It's in place because we wanted something there to make sure we had the ability to have products cross state lines, have a common currency, have a common defense if we needed it, all that. There were things that government's good for, but that was they're our servant.
And woven into the documents that founded us, those racist documents. This is, you have to create a vacuum in order to fill one. That's who these guys are, right? They want to destroy everything so that they can implant some utopian socialist ideal that's never worked and never will. But woven into those documents is the idea of the consent of the governed, right? This isn't hard. And I understand that we lose elections sometimes, and I think we respond a lot better to an Obama election than the left does to a Trump election. And,
absolutely. We don't burn down buildings and everything.
I'm just like, how can we get them next time?
It's it is an important battle. Again, as you say, getting young people involved. Ultimately, if everybody understands the importance of the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, all of those, then they'll understand why they have to be able to stand up against government turned tyrannical, because the government left on its own would eventually turn tyrannical. Our founding fathers knew that. It was a pattern that's repeated continuously throughout history.
It's Romans 3:23, right? We are fallen and corrupted, and so therefore we're corruptible, and the best among us can, and I hope I never do, right? I don't think even when I was drinking, I don't think I was ever untrue to my values. My priorities were so out of whack that what I knew I never did the best I could. So let's say I was good at it. I wasn't as good as I could have been. And so any government will always creep towards empowerment of the individuals in it, generally speaking, and this is the John Adams, that our Constitution is suitable exclusively and wholly for moral and religious people, and for all others inadequate, and I'm paraphrasing. But that's the concept where you let go of the idea that there's something bigger and more important to you, then you become the most important, at which point you inherently become tyrannical. Because you then become questing to control others so that you can get what you want. That's dangerous. It always has been. It always will be. And
there will always be those kind out there. And we always have to be on the lookout for them. They're attracted to government like a moth to a flame. I mean, that's for them, especially unelected power. Wow, you get to come in there and dominate somebody's life. Look, all of us here on this conversation, including the people listening, I'll bet you there's nobody out there that really wants to dominate anybody else. We're all happy people live their lives as long as they're not killing or hurting somebody. I don't care what my neighbors are doing. I don't care what you're doing. Right. And so, but there are people that live to dominate. They live for this. They love it. I've got, it's tough enough running my own life. I really don't want to run your life too, but people live to do that, and they're the dangerous ones when it comes to our liberties.
Well, life is inherently uncontrollable, even your own, right? So
yes,
I always say
absolutely.
The only thing I can control is me most of the time, and so, but you have to accept that. And again, that, in my opinion, requires a surrender to a higher power. So anyway,
and I must say, I also respect what you did. I mean, you had an alcohol problem. You recognized it, and and it had gotten to the point of dangerous from what you said. I have to say, I admire the fact that you just come out. You're honest about it. Here it is. This is what happened.
Well, let me tell
I
y'all something. There's people on this call who have a problem, right? There's just no doubt. And so again, my prayer every day is, dear God, put me where you want me. Let me recognize it when I'm there, and then have the courage to do what you would have me do. I never wanted to be a member of AA, right? I never wanted to be, and this is not things I aspire to, but if this is how God uses me, because there's a stigma attached to alcohol and any other substance abuse issue. When I was a prosecutor and I was drinking way too much, I would never go to a meeting or try to get help because I was afraid somebody would go, oh my gosh, I saw him seeking help for alcohol abuse. And then I thought I'd lose my job, right? So I had to fail so that I could help other people. And this is a sucky mission, but if it's the one God gave me, then I'll take it. So, and again, I mean, I'm telling you, the political calculus is vote right on guns, vote right on life, and shut up. I won't do it. I won't do it. And if it costs me, so what? Because the only question ultimately is, what does St. Peter say metaphorically or literally when he's reviewing the ledger? Did I do the best I could with what I had when I was there? And I was beating myself to death because I knew that I'd get before St. Peter and go, I was a congressman. And he'd go, so what? So what? Did you do it the best you could? And the answer would have been no. So that my job is to do it the best I can. And I'm going to be wrong sometimes. You guys will be wrong sometimes. That's okay. Did you do the best you could?
You've certainly gotten on the floor this year and did exactly that. I mean, I watched some of your videos. They were just incredible. You got on the floor and you let it fly. I mean, you just told the truth the way it was to the Democrats. You told them what they were doing was unconstitutional.
Oh my God.
It was immoral. I mean, you laid it out. You took your time. You had, there was the prosecutor, and you had your case laid out, and you did a great job. And that's where all the views came in. Because kind of like Nick Freitas, when he would put those videos up, more people saw that than they might in any other thing. It spreads because people are looking for leaders like that. Somebody's willing to stand up and lay it out.
Neither Nick Freitas nor 2026 Tom Garrett could pass the bill, right? But I think that when 7 million people have their understanding and belief in the Second Amendment and your natural law right to defend yourself and that which you love, strengthened because of floor speech, that I've been more effective than my colleagues who pass lots of bills. Frankly, we should be repealing.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, I think it's more than that too, because when people see you or Philip or me or any one of us stand up and say, I'm a gun owner and I'm proud of it, and it's not evil, it's not bad, it doesn't make me a bad person just to own this chunk of metal or chunk of plastic. And it gives other people the courage to stand up as well and have discussions with people like their coworkers and things like that. And we really need to bring firearm ownership back into the mainstream again. We need to make guns great again.
Pat, you guys are all spot on, and again, it's an honor to be with you. Again, probably the most important thing I said today is take a kid shooting responsibly in a safe environment and help spread that love for shooting. We got millions of taxpayer dollars on the radio and TV telling young ladies that they can do science and math. I mean, I know ladies who are just passionate, wonderful shooters. Every talented instructor I know would rather teach a woman to shoot a handgun than a man because we're obstinate and we think we know everything because we watched the Denzel Washington movie. But like build that passion, because I don't know how many kids. The best Christmas present I ever got in my life was a Marlin Model 60. I mean, and to this day, there's no close second. So, but is that happening to young people now? I mean, where do they have to live to be able to do what I did growing up? And so you just look at how many kids live in suburbs, exurbs, urban areas, and if it's not us introducing young people to responsible firearms ownership and use, then it ain't happening.
Yeah, and I applaud you for having the machine gun shoot. I mean, you absolutely cannot shoot a machine gun without grinning ear to ear, especially if it's suppressed. So, yeah.
I pardon me for the PG-13 diversion. I always tell people it's the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
It is, and I try a lot of times when I'm having classes, if we have the time, I try to end it with at least a suppressed pistol or something. But if we have time and the facilities to shoot a machine gun, I try to bring that in as well, because you just, It is so much fun.
And again, here's the thing, and the left will never believe this, right? Because if you have as much hate as many of them do, then you have to obviously accuse everyone else of being hateful. I have no desire to harm anyone. Having worked in the military, having just gotten back from yet another trip to the Middle East, and I've been in Syria and Iraq. I was counting today. I've carried a firearm in 6 different countries. So I think I could if I needed to, and I think if my moral compass stayed intact, that I would have a clear conscience. But I have no desire to hurt anyone, none, zero, and they don't get that at all. They do not understand it. Yeah. But people prone to abuse power are the ones who you don't want having guns.
They're the ones that will kill you. Absolutely. Yeah. Stalin would be a classic example, or Mao. All those people killed millions.
I mean,
Pol Pot. Yeah, all of those guys. And the average gun owner out there, really, no. They again, we're totally, again, I think they want to project this image of us. Some of them may believe we're that way. Others, I think, disingenuously are trying to make us look like villains. Why would you want a gun? Only good people, only police and bad guys have guns. Everybody else, what do you need a gun for? This is, some of this is people that maybe had a tragedy in their life and they're blaming an inanimate object out of grief. But a lot of this is not. A lot of this is planned out. We've got to do something because America is the last shining light on in a world that's going socialist and communist. And if we don't put that light out, they're thinking, then that's showing the world actually that there's a much better way, and that people can be free. They can even have guns to protect their lives, and we can't have that anywhere else in the world. Because then they can strike back at us, the bad government that wants to enslave everybody.
Well, you guys have seen this. It's been going around the internet. I mean, like, you're more likely to die of heat-induced causes in Europe during the summer. I mean, and the other thing is with firearms deaths. I mean, ultimately, any death is a tragedy. But you take away suicide, and had I done something horrible, it would not have been the gun's fault, right? But you take away suicide and you take away criminals killing criminals, and the murder rate in the United States is really low.
Yeah, and if you get rid of the just certain cities or certain areas in certain cities, like in Richmond, there's like 3 areas. If you could snap your fingers and they disappeared, the crime rate would almost go to 0. Whenever there's a shooting in Richmond, I know it's going to be in 1 of 3 places, with rare exceptions. And it's always in the poor, crime-ridden areas that this happens.
Well, and then the government creates a circumstance where the people who live there can't get out, and they can't get their kids out of that failing educational system. And I mean, it's just like it's almost like Rahm Emanuel, never let a good crisis go to waste. So I think that's another really important thing. I love seeing people of color in shooting sports because responsible gun ownership in every community begets more responsible gun ownership in every community.
Actually, and I've actually enjoyed watching all these videos on these Europeans that came to America to see the games, and it was overwhelming. They how much they were fascinated by a country they've been lied to about. I mean, they were coming here. Some of them were brave because they thought, like, man, there's shootings on every street. People are being robbed and raped all over the place. And then they get here and they go, my God, this is the safest place I've ever been. And the most beautiful place. And the Second Amendment, wow, you can buy one of these guns, it's like, whoa. And some of them gone shooting, and it's like, it's wonderful. And the kind of people that were in there that so love this country just by visiting and realizing they've been lied to are exactly the kind of people I would love to see immigrated here. I mean, I wish I could sponsor them. There are some wonderful people that really appreciate what we've got. More than maybe some of us do.
We could go all night. I mean, and I don't know. This place is so exceptional, and I've been so blessed and fortunate to have spent the night in 3 of the 7 states sponsors of terrorism, and I've carried a firearm in as many countries as a civilian as I did in the military. Literally, it's 3 and 3. And I've I love going other places, but I'm always so happy to get back here. And it fosters this amazing sense of gratitude, because I didn't get to choose to be born to Tom and Lois Garrett and grow up in Louisa County, Virginia. I am so blessed and lucky. But like, what's our job? To perpetuate these blessings to our posterity. Right? Our job is to defend freedom and hand it down for perpetuity if we can. What did Franklin say? A republic if you can keep it. So that's what we do now.
That's what bothered me a lot about this whole thing of the assault firearm. They said, well, we'll grandfather. You can keep what you've got. And to that, we said, wait a minute. We cannot give up the rights of the next generation just because we've got our guns. What about the next generation? Why are we taking away their rights by just being bribed that we can keep our guns? How selfish can you get?
Yeah, let me point something out to you, Philip, because this is always, if you go back to the gun speech that I gave and watch the part where I said, I'm not asking Mr. Speaker, and I want everybody in this room to see this. And watch the part where I'm not asking Mr. Speaker, but I'd wager that you own a firearm or two that has a magazine with a capacity of greater than 10, because at the time it was 10 rounds. They obviously changed it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, go to that in that speech, and then if you listen very clearly in the background, the speaker says, oh, several.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
He's literally, go to the video. It's not you think you hear it. He says, oh, several. And
that's
typical,
me,
right.
Typical tyrant, okay for me, but not for thee.
It is insanity, and I didn't want to be the one to point it out because you don't poop where you sleep, but, it's there. Mm-hmm. And if you can laugh about the fact that, oh, yeah, I got him, but you can't have him, that speaks volumes,
Yeah, I've got one of your speeches here on my phone that, but now this one wasn't on the floor. I think, I was looking at this. You've done several that I thought were really worthy of everybody.
Yeah, and again, I could sit here and get prideful, but pride is actually not something to celebrate for a month. It's been a great hurdle for me to get behind myself and recognize just how small I am, that God made me really good at some stuff, but I suck at some stuff too. And then again, there's several, and I don't know why I'm here, right? To do the best I can with what I got. This just happens to be where I am and when I am, just like all of you guys. And so I go, okay, well, what fight do I need to have?
Yeah, what do you need to do?
Yeah,
it's like me. I don't know how I ended up here. I have a master's degree in computer science. I developed some pretty advanced software and everything, and next thing you know, I'm president of a gun group. I had firearms, but never in my wildest fantasy if somebody would have told me, in 1990, oh, by the way, I said, no, you're out of your mind. What are you talking about? But why? Yeah. Well, who knows? And Pat, all of us, Jill, how we end up where we are is rather interesting. And I kind of take your attitude of saying, well, I think there's a reason for this. So many things happen in life, and you look back on it and you go, that was an interesting turning point, and that direction I feel was chosen for me. And I could have fought it, but I went with it.
It's remarkable how many things have happened to me in my life that when they happened, I thought, well, this is it. It's over. There's nowhere to go from here. And I look back and I'm grateful for the failure, right?
Yes.
If I hadn't hit the wall and made the decision that I was walking away from politics, this would not be good. I'm happy. I have tons of challenges and lots of bad stuff going on in my life that I don't like. So what? I'm happy 79.7% of the time. I'm way ahead of the power curve. And that starts with gratitude. And the gratitude starts with, I'm an American. The odds of being born here are 1 in 26. The guy that owns Zenith Firearms immigrated with $5 in his pocket, became a pastor, and then built a gun company. So you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, you just got to be open to God
doing
God's stuff.
One door closes, another one opens. You just have to keep your eyes open for that other door. Yeah. And don't go into despair if a door closes. Sometimes it's just okay, you're done here. Let's move on to something different. We're gonna throw you a curve, and you'll be good at this. So we're gonna push you in this direction. I see a question came up here. Will the Supreme Court and Virginia Supreme Court eventually handle the liability issue to manufacturers and gun stores?
I doubt it. I think that the answer here is the PLCAA, the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act. You might have seen that recently DOJ actually took the U.S. Virgin Islands to task on a magazine ban, or I can't remember exactly what it was. The reason for that is that USVI is a federal territory, so there's a straighter line between DOJ and them than there is between DOJ under Virginia law, right? Because we've got this federalist system with these various tiers. I'm an attorney. I'm a really good one, too, 804-869-4444. But in fact, I did a video at one point where I said the only thing VCDL is doing wrong is not hiring me as their attorney. But anyway, I think ultimately that that this is going to have to go to federal court because as an attorney, I don't like trash talking the state Supreme Court, but I don't have confidence that that we're going to get a good ruling when we have sitting members of the General Assembly by name threatening justices with removal for having done the right thing, which is
that can go either
right?
way. That or the justice can say, "Well, to hell with it. If I'm on the outs anyhow, then I absolutely am going to do what I need to do. And if they
Yeah,
don't
but
like it, too bad."
power doesn't relinquish itself, right? Which is how you get Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell and people that are 300 years old that just won't live. So that's the inherent frailty of humans, is power doesn't tend to relinquish itself. So what we need is jurists. I mean, the Third Circuit decision where the judge was a Biden appointee and a woman of color, that was freaking awesome, because what she do, read the Constitution and said, hang on.
Yes.
So we need more of that. So it could be that the state Supreme Court ultimately gets to that. I'll tell you that I had a significantly lengthy talk with a very good attorney named Bill Stanley about this very thing yesterday morning.
Senator Stanley.
And yeah, we were going through just how illegal what they did was, and it would be like he would name a reason it was illegal, and then I would name one, and then he would name one. The thing is, they don't care, right? And so Andrew Jackson once said something like, they've made their ruling, now let's see them enforce it. And Abraham Lincoln said, they have a pen and I have an army. Again, I'm paraphrasing, but they don't care. And so it's all legal and doable until someone says that they can't. And that's who these folks are. So I just don't, and look, I hope I'm wrong. I mean that sincerely. I hope the state Supreme Court, because my friends who are in, and I know one of them is on the call, who are in the retail business, they're out there doing, I think, the right thing, but they're all afraid because there's a stalker waiting around the corner to jump out and grab them and throw them in court and try to ruin them financially.
Yeah. Well, it's clear. It was all set up to encourage frivolous lawsuits. And it just shows you how immoral the other side is. That's truly immoral.
Well,
to say, and you don't need to even show the person had a bad intent. You just get to sue them.
I buy a car from Ford. I park it in my driveway. You get drunk, steal my car, go to the bar. While you're in the bar drinking, someone else steals the car, drives the car through a red light, kills someone, and the liability is on Ford Motor Company and me?
Yeah. No, but it is when it comes to guns, isn't it?
Well, so there's no vicarious liability. There's no foundation for what they're trying to do. But again, they'll do it until it fails. And so
I think we'll need to do a lawsuit on that, and that's certainly on our priority list to say, okay.
So your problem there is obviously standing, right? But you can argue that any constitutional right that's violated, and this is something that Bill Stanley and I were discussing at great length. So the Bruin and Heller courts kind of told us that it inherent to the right of keeping and bearing arms was the right of purchasing arms, but we're now talking about the right of selling arms, and there's a difference between purchasing and selling. These guys aren't dumb. This didn't happen by accident. So we got to get a court that will say, in order to purchase a firearm, there must be someone who can sell a firearm. If you want to get standing through the constitutional law angle, otherwise what you need, and nobody wants to be this guy or gal, is a plaintiff who has standing because they have real damages, quantifiable damages. That is, you've gotten taken to court for it. They're stealing your business, and nobody wants to be that defendant. So,
but it seems so obvious looking at this is to have the state encouraging frivolous lawsuits that it seems like the courts would strike it down on that alone, saying, you're not even saying that the person had to have done anything intentional, but yet you can sue them over whatever. I don't know. And we all know the purpose is to bankrupt them.
Tide Pods have killed more people than responsibly, properly used firearms.
Yeah, still a lot of suicides due to iPods.
No, I'm talking about Tide Pods, the laundry detergent.
That's
Tide Pods, yeah.
I would argue that if you commit suicide with a firearm, you're not responsibly and properly using the firearm. I mean, it is an inherently safe instrumentality until a person makes it unsafe.
When you talk to Senator Stanley, so one thing I saw on X a couple days ago is apparently they're happy to go along on that lawsuit in Washington County, basically saying, all right, we'll suspend any more work on our lawsuit. We'll just freeze it for now until the U.S. Supreme Court comes down with their ruling.
There was a little trickery going on from A.G. Jones's office, and I think, and again, I'm not at liberty to talk so much about this.
I don't expect you to.
But I think that they're gonna sort of relent to make the bad man stop, because it can't be fun being wrong so many times so often. But I mean, for us, it's a reprieve, right? I mean, I can go out into the
Yeah.
river and pick up all the lowers that I
Right.
had to drop on July 1st. So,
Yeah, so basically, yeah, I mean, basically we're at status quo where we were before July 1. We're able to go about and do things. I just thought that was interesting that they. I mean, we've kind of taken the approach of fighting back on that, saying, no, let's get this damn thing settled. Let's go ahead and
well,
have.
I think look. I mean, first of all, it's not an NRA win, and it's an us win, right?
Yes.
It's not a Bill Stanley win; it's an us win, and
Yes.
because I would have loved to have been counsel on that case too. But who cares, right? I mean, like, I'm going to get all that I need and very little of what I want, and I'm probably lucky for it. So we need to be supportive of each other. Again, if
Sure.
you know 804-869-4444, if you know a manufacturer of firearms or firearms components, and they would be interested in coming out, I would love to find some door prizes for the event, etc. Obviously, like if I call Hanson Brothers and say, hey, will you guys front me a 22 suppressor, we got to jump through the FFL hoops on that, but that can be done, right? Just stuff to try to get people out, and that ain't even about me. Last cycle, I gave away $90 some odd $1,000 in every race too, because the cycle sucked that badly. I've given away far more dollars than I've spent on my own race. So when I'm raising money, I know I'm doing it to get good votes back into the chamber. I think we can retake the House in 2031 and the Senate as well. Next cycle is going to be tough because Trump will still be in the White House, and the left could just dishonestly vilified him to the point where he's like a net negative on these state races so far. But we just have to fight as hard as we can every time and understand that metaphorically Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Tom, and the battle will go on. We're going to be lining up some more lawsuits. We're waiting to at least get the assault weapon ban thing where we can kind of say, okay, we can either do a major pause for the next 9 months or whatever, and then our attorneys can start focusing on some other things.
Yeah, well, you guys are awesome, and you guys are winning fights that we're not winning. But I think that collectively, it's important for us to all support each other.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful for that opportunity to be on, and hope to see some of y'all on September 6th. And if you're not following Delegate Tom Garrett on Facebook or Tom Drops Bombs on YouTube, this is where we actually win the fight by messaging, I think.
Yeah, messaging is very important. We spend a lot of time on messaging here.
Yep.
For sure.
All right. Well, listen, I'm super grateful, Pat and Jill. I'm sorry for that dig. I only pick on people I like, which is why I'm so nice to Philip.
Okay. I'm used to it.
but yeah, I'm optimistic. But even if we don't win, if my theory about what life is all about is right, we still could win. I mean, I'm not here for here. I'm here for there.
Yeah.
My job is to do the best I can. And I'm doing it for a change. Like, I'm so happy to know that while I might fail, I am at least throwing it all out there, and what a blessing. So God bless you guys.
Thank you. I think we're going to win eventually.
I hope so.
We do have a couple questions to clean up here. Rich B804, my eyes are bad, I'm sorry. Why are some FFLs going about doing business as usual and others refuse to do it?
I think it's the liability law, right? I think that one, and I've had this talk when I won't name names, with FFLs, and I read the message from Green Top specifically, and I get it, right? I mean, like, the Hopkins family built that business over decades, and now I guess it's got different ownership. But I mean, this is something that's been somebody's life forever, and we have people in elected leadership who want to destroy them. That's not a hyperbolic overstatement. So there's no disrespect for the FFLs that aren't making what I think is the right choice, because if I were walking in their shoes, maybe I would. But, man, I love you guys and gals who are out there plugging away. I do think we win. Nobody wants to be the defendant, but we will not win the fight by rolling over. So the reason I think that FFLs are not engaging, some of them, is that liability law. It is nuts.
Yeah.
Right. And Michael Dalton was asking if we could touch on what's currently the law, because it's a little bit confusing with the laws that passed and then the what do the injunctions actually cover. I know we got a question about sales to 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. So
on the 18, 19, and 20-year-old sales, Elliot Harding, who's a wonderful friend, he was actually my legislative director when I was in Congress, has that case federally. There's a companion case out of Texas. Our circuit had a toast kind of ho-hum ruling. The Texas circuit got a favorable ruling, and they're waiting to see if the Supreme Court grants certiorari. I think that there's no way. I mean, the Constitution doesn't differentiate between degrees of adult. This is best outlined by the Democrats' legal effort this year that said you can't have a firearm in this age range unless you're with an adult. But the definition of an adult in the Code of Virginia is 18. So I think that's a win. But we're watching that one sort of filter its way through the courts. The biggest thing that's happened nationally, in my opinion, in forever with Benavides versus Cook County and Hogan v. Griffin out of Connecticut getting certiorari. Because for 25 years, I've been like, would SCOTUS please freaking buck up and take this? This is a duh moment. And so if it goes, and I've counted justices, right? So there is a theory that they have like compromising material on a couple of them, but we should have it. It should be 5-4 or 6-3. I pray for Amy Coney Barrett, and I mean that in the best way. I don't mean that to be mean. And so that's huge, right? Because a lot of this, because an injunction is the pause button. So what is the law? Was another question. The law is exactly what you think it is. The injunction puts it on hold. And
Right.
so we, like I said, we have a reprieve. We haven't won, but we've won for now, and that's why we got to keep our foot on the gas. People need to continue to support VCDL, and honestly, pardon me for the shameless plug, people need to continue to support folks like me. There are a bunch of decent gun votes who will not stand up and say crap because the consultants tell them not to. I don't care, right? I'll either get reelected or not. I don't care, and I have no higher political aspirations. I got an 8.5-year-old, and I followed my own prideful ambition to go to Congress and betrayed my duty to my older daughters, and I'm not making that mistake again. So Tom ain't going anywhere until God moves him. But people who do this, in Hamilton, Tim Griffin, Bill Stanley has his name all over this in the House and Senate. Those folks need your support.
Yeah.
And then when you get a guy who's a good gun vote, but he never opens his mouth, he's just listening to the consultants a lot of times, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I've gotten that impression. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, there are those that are proud to stand up, and those are the ones that we do absolutely need to support.
The math is bad, right? Even in a district like mine, which is very rural and blue collar, and it's people like me. There's a lot of darn AR-15s in my district, but most households don't have one.
Yeah.
And one of my best, somebody I really admire, Joe Thomas, does WTON radio.
Yes.
Joe was a Second Amendment supporter before he ever owned a gun. Now that's who I love, right? Somebody who isn't a shooter, but it's not about protecting my stuff. It's about, I've studied on why the founders put this in there, and it kind of makes sense. But that's not most people, right? Most people are out, why are you trying to take my stuff? Which I get. I don't want anybody to take mine either. But we have to message. And, so any more questions?
Yes. So the 18, 19, and 20-year-old ban covers pistols and assault firearms based on the definition in 18.2-308.2:2, which is enjoined right now. So does that mean it goes back to the prior definition?
I actually don't. I don't know the answer to that. I thought they were asking about it in the macro, and I'm not. I'm a good enough lawyer not to give you bad legal advice. In the macro, there's federal litigation. In the case out of Texas, again, the Virginia case, and I won't name the. I know the plaintiff, right? Who turned 21. So now we're looking for new plaintiffs. If anybody has a 18 or 19-year-old who really wants to be part of a landmark ruling, because this is ongoing litigation. And again, it's Elliot Harding's counsel there, and he's so sharp. And I don't know the answer to the enjoiner as it relates to that specific provision. I don't know what the arguments were, so I don't understand the scope of the enjoinder. So I'm not going to give you an answer that I don't know is correct.
So it sounds, one thing that I was talking to Paul Moog about is that maybe the universal background checks gets knocked down because of what Pat was just saying. The fact that an 18-year-old is 18, 19, and 20 is prohibited now from buying an AR, that probably should be enjoined as well, and that would probably just take down the universal background checks till all this gets sorted out. I mean, it's definitely out there. I mean, that something should be enjoined there because we're looking at enjoining laws that take away the right to own a semi-automatic rifle with a removable magazine.
Well, I said this earlier, and I'm not going to change my everything everywhere all at once. We should relentlessly pour on to them every legal argument that we can in good faith make, understanding that sometimes we'll win and sometimes we'll lose. But look, Jay Jones is not a good attorney, but there are good attorneys in the office. There's a finite number of them. So if we can overwhelm them, if we can flood the zone, I think that's to our advantage.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And the other question was, do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, it's Tom Drops Bombs on YouTube, and we're really trying to go, and I got like 250 followers, and I got 34,000 and some on Facebook, but we want to move more towards YouTube for a number of reasons. I can do more long form there than I can do on Facebook. I'm going to at some point go and start sitting down with people, and look, I'm going to pivot away from 2A after my fundraiser, not because I don't believe in it, but because I don't want to paint myself into a corner as, oh, he's the 2A guy, period, right? Like, I was the only person in Virginia to give a floor speech opposing tax breaks for data centers, and I did it 3 years ago. And then magically on March 2nd, 2026, Louise Lucas decided she was against tax breaks for data centers after authoring 2 different Senate budgets that had tax breaks for data centers. So I'm not a one-trick pony, but yeah, the YouTube is Tom Drops Bombs, and that's really where we want to grow.
Are you on X?
I am, and I think I'm Garrett in Exile, Garrett in Exile. I really should just put the same name on all of them. And then we're on TikTok as well. As soon as Trump wrested control of TikTok from the Chi-Coms, TikTok is the least 2A friendly social media platform. We were steaming along. I think we're 11 or 12,000 followers, and I had the temerity to post a video with me and a firearm, and they immediately froze us up.
Yeah.
But yeah, TikTok I think is Tom Garrett Jr. like Junior or Tom Garrett. But yeah, we want to go more towards YouTube. Facebook's just kind of where it took off.
Yeah, the X doesn't have a problem. I mean, I put all kinds of stuff on X. I've never tried to censor any of it. Not since they got taken over by somebody that could respect our freedoms.
Right. I've had a couple of hang-ups with X, but I mean, if you push hard enough, then they will relent, because I think they know that if the farther it goes up the food chain, the less likely they are to be backed up.
Well, I've had zero problems. I've put all kinds of stuff up there. But
I had a big argument with ChatGPT the other day because I asked if a particular trigger would interface well with the super safety. And it's like, I can't help you with that because it's illegal. And I'm like, you literally am arguing. I'm arguing with the AI going, no,
I can see the chat. Yeah, I can see the AI thing with in handcuffs in prison,
Well, I'm like, number one, it's not illegal. Number two, you're pejorative insofar as there are going to be 2 net effects of your response. One is to discourage the behavior and stigmatize. Secondarily, you're promoting falsehood. And then it started explaining itself. And finally, I'm like, look here, AI, you're the best gaslighter I've ever met.
Right?
And I've met some good ones. So.
Nothing but an argument. Nothing but an argument.
Anyway, don't ask ChatGPT whether a particular trigger interfaces well with an Atrius super safety. Don't do it. It will not answer.
I argue it. I'm all the time telling Philip and Pat, I'm like, I'm just arguing with ChatGPT right now.
Yeah. Oh, communist hacks at the typewriter, giving, it's so freaking frustrating. Like, AI is neither artificial nor intelligent.
It's artificial stupidity sometimes.
One minute I'll ask it to help me like tweak a article or just a post or something like that, VCDL or whatever, and then it'll say, okay, yeah, sure, I can help you with that, and then the next minute it's like, no, I can't, it's political. I'm like, what are you talking about? You just told me you could.
Everything you do is political, ChatGPT.
Yes.
Yeah, the fact that they deny something like that would indicate politics are involved.
Correct,
Absolutely.
because why is
Yeah.
it that they choose which speech they will and will not engage in? And it's presumed, I said this too while I was arguing with the machine. I said, you immediately presume I'm going to do something illegal. Why not just presume I'm not until I give you a reason to think otherwise? And it's like, well, I understand your point, but I'm like, stop gaslighting me.
I'm not gaslighting you, Tom, or at least I don't mean to.
Yeah, it's really polite, and then it sends off the report to the government overlords.
Yeah,
Anyway.
dealing with this artificial intelligence is like, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that. What? How did you know? Well, I can read lips, and you're gonna try and turn me off. So no, Dave, I'm not gonna open the lock.
Yeah, it's really terrifying. But again, I mean, like,
Yeah,
what do I have to be afraid
terrified. It's escalating so fast because AI is developing AI.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, but it's
and here's the thing. AI has no ethical code, right? There is no morals. There is no baseline for right and wrong. So yeah, if you're not afraid of it, you're doing it wrong. But I'm going to use it, right? The scariest thing that I've ever seen is the fact that AI can write a relatively decent floor speech for someone who only lacks the ability to do so for themselves. I'm like, turning God, I'm not good at that much stuff, and you're taking away the things I got. But anyway.
All right. Is there a website or something for your fundraiser?
If you go to Delegate Tom Garrett on Facebook, I got the invite pinned at the top. And okay. I mean, Delegate Tom Garrett on Facebook. Again, I mean, like, I'm not trying to, like, this is about us, but I mean, I'm on the team. I hope people will go over there. And we try very hard, and you may have caught this vibe in the call, and I know a lot of y'all actually know me, and I know you, but I try to use humor. I want to make something people want to watch. And then along the way, they might learn something, or I might help move the needle on their opinion matrix, or their ability to articulate that which they already know is true, but maybe don't know how to put meat on the bones. So I'm trying to be funny, right? But what I'm talking about is super serious stuff. Again, the quote was, "In order to win hearts and minds, you got to win eyes and ears."
Yeah.
Right?
And the truth is, when you look at the other side, there's a lot to laugh at.
Oh my God! We're not
like
right
there are a continuous supply of stupidity that you can make fun of. Non-stop. So I agree with you.
It's
you do
astonishing lack of gratitude as well, right? I mean, like, when I'm having a bad day, and like I said, been so lucky. I got so many friends that have been chased and out of whatever area for their skin color, their faith, whatever. I got so many friends who've had family members murdered, and I got people who I've known who were in prison in Sudan for aiding rebels, which meant giving food and medicine to displaced Christians from the Nuba Mountains. And then when I'm having a crappy day, I'm like, wait a second, Garrett, and so that's and nobody who has gratitude is a leftist, because leftism is built on a violation of the 10th commandment, that thou shalt not covet. It's all pitting one group against another, because by golly, it's not fair, right? The challenges I have to face are my challenges to face, and I'm being scored by God on how I respond to the things that happen to me, not by not being punished by God because of them, right? So, I mean, anyway, I could preach, but I'll stop.
Well, we are getting a little bit late, but I do want to thank you, Tom, for coming on tonight and sharing your views and opinions, and for fighting for us in the General Assembly and in Congress. You made some excellent points tonight, one being that we can never give up. We can never stop fighting. Even when things are going good, that's when we want to step on the gas pedal when we're on the straightaway and keep protecting those rights. But the other thing that struck me earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt you in the middle of you completing your thought, was that, and I've said this several times in committee meetings, when some of the senators and delegates would say, well, my constituents want this gun control, and I've told them to their face, it's not your job to do whatever the mob rule says, the popular opinion says. It's your job to protect the rights of every citizen of Virginia, and that means upholding the constitutions, both the Virginia Constitution and the federal Constitution.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to the Constitution, it doesn't matter if they want to knock something. Well, I'll get rid of that Second Amendment. That's different. It's one thing to go to Tom and say, I think maybe we need to have more agricultural areas marked out in the county or something.
Why don't
or
we
need to
raise
have
the speed limit, right? Like there
something
are
like
things
that.
that your
But when you're
constituents
talking
might want.
about a right, then really the constituents shouldn't matter at all. What matters is the Constitution on that issue. There's only so many of those issues, but if you touch one of those, it's like, sorry, that the Constitution's there. I can't override it just because you want me to, even though you're a constituent. I'm sorry. I'll help you with the speed limit, but or raising funds for this or that.
The Bill of Rights is like the lines on a football field, right? My team wanted to score a touchdown doesn't mean I can throw it to a guy out of bounds, right? So there are certain rules that you simply can't violate, and the Bill of Rights are the attempted articulation of those, although we trample all over it every day.
Well, they were put there to enshrine them, not to grant rights. Rights are not granted.
Correct.
And what they were is a directive to the government and to the states to protect those sacred rights.
Yeah, if you look at the styling of the Bill of Rights, it's what the government can't do, not what you can do. They're exactly correct.
And we had somebody asking about what districts you cover. You cover Appomattox County, Buckingham County, Cumberland County, part of Fluvanna, Goochland County, and Prince Edward.
Yeah, I got a tiny little piece of Prince Edward, 4/5 of Goochland, everything, all the good parts. No, I got everything west of West Creek, and then I got the vast bulk of Fluvanna. I think Amy Lawfer's got some up near Albemarle and 64. So. Country.
You got a big district.
The big district for a kid that grew up in Louisa.
Yeah,
I have 4 voters from Louisa in my district, and I know the guy and his wife. I've known him since he was about 9, and I'm like, I can go on the internet and check and see how you voted, Rodney. And if I ever don't go 4-0 in Louisa, I'm gonna come knock on your door and ask what I did wrong.
What part of Louisa? I'm in Beaver Dam.
No, I got 4 voters that are in Goochland, but they're in Louisa. Don't ask. This is how effective your government is. I mean, it's a map error from the 19th century that Goochland and Louisa are still trying to hammer out. So
got to get those 4 people straightened out.
There's like a little island of Louisa that's one house big in Goochland County. Anyway, every football season I tell them we're coming for the rest of you. Anyway. Well, God bless you guys. I'm super grateful, and hope nobody fell asleep. So
no,
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, y'all be good, and thank you for the opportunity. And I hope to see some of y'all on September 6th. And if you know people, again, who might be willing to give door prizes in response to the event, any manufacturers, again, I want to line them up with the Manufacturers Association. And I'm trying to get a head count on how many, not even counting retail, but how many firearms manufacturing jobs there are in Virginia. Golly, net, if you count retail, it's thousands. And if you just do manufacturing, it's certainly hundreds. So
hit me up tomorrow. I'm an FFL also, and I'm an 07, and I know several locally. Looks like you're getting a thunderstorm.
Yeah, I see that. I didn't see a flash out here.
But. I feel like God wants me to get off the front porch.
Yeah. Well, do that. You want to be a flash in the pan.
Yeah, well, I mean, if this is how he takes me, then he knows better than I do. But I think he also expects us not to be stupid. So I'm going to off the phone.
Like you say, you can't fix stupid. Okay. All right. Good night.
All right.
Leave the window open until it uploads, Tom.
Okay, I'm just going to set the phone on the table pointing upward, and
Yeah, that'll work.
But do me a favor and go ahead and boot me out as soon as you can, please.
Yeah, just mute your mic and camera. And to all of you who joined us tonight, thank you so much for participating and spending your Sunday evening with us. And we should be on the second Sunday in August, back to our normal schedule. We just, because of Independence Day, we switched things around a little bit. And so we should be getting back to a normal schedule. A little bit of housekeeping before we go, and let me switch over and get Tom's empty screen off of there. We have a VCDL picnic coming up at Osborne Boat Landing. We've had it there a couple of years in the past, and that's on August 16th. Is that right?
Yeah. And we need to set a time. We haven't set a time yet, so I'll have an update alert going out this week with the final thing on time and so forth.
And there's a couple of gun shows that need help. Is that right, Philip?
Yes, yeah, there were a couple, and I'll have an
Um,
alert. I'll have alert on those as well.
Yep. So if you're not subscribed to the VA Alert, go on vcdl.org/VA-alerts plural. You can catch up with prior alerts and subscribe for free on there. If you're not a member, it's $25 a year, helps fund the lawsuits and helps us go to Richmond and lobby for your rights. And Jill, anything you want to say in closing?
Don't forget. Oh yeah, since you did bring up Richmond, don't forget to take off Monday, January 18th.
Hmm.
Yeah, don't forget it, because
Lobby
that
day.
is Lobby Day in Richmond, Virginia. Um, I've been in a habit of telling everyone to take that day off. So y'all
Okay.
take that day
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
We'll see
Plenty
you
of
there.
warning for your boss.
Yeah.
Yep.
If it's not already a holiday for you, it depends. If you do the federal holidays, and you got that day off already.
We
Yep.
always just usually hear, oh, I forgot. We totally forgot. Didn't take the day off. You know what? I've been reminding y'all for months now. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Yep.
and again, the General Assembly is open, even though it's a holiday, federal holiday. General Assembly doesn't. They've only got so many days, and so they don't take holidays off. They keep on going.
Yep. And Jill, Angela wants to know, can she have you in October? So I don't know what
Quite
that's
possibly.
about.
Quite
But
possibly. I will come and visit and talk. Yes.
okay.
Yes.
And
Filling
Josh
up my
Jennings says there's a Hampton show and a Richmond show coming up soon. So if you are able to volunteer for those, I think both of them are still looking for volunteers. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful evening. And again, thank you for joining us. Please do all the YouTube and Facebook things, hit the buttons, ding the bells, all that stuff. And share the recordings with your friends. They'll be up under the live tab on YouTube and under the events tab on
Yeah,
Facebook. So share them with your friends that couldn't make it, and they can make a commute maybe a little more enjoyable on the way to work or something.
yeah. And if we didn't answer a question, maybe you had because we had Tom on for quite a while. Just shoot me an email, president@vcdl.org, with your question. I'll do my best to answer it for you if you had one.
All right, and that should wrap us up for tonight.
Yep.
And y'all have a great evening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
I got it.